Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That's what Nelson Mandela said. But what if that weapon has been turned against us? I want you to imagine something. It's a cold morning in 1958. A young boy named Elijah sits in a gray classroom in Cleveland, Ohio. He's 11, curious, sensitive. He's fascinated by birds and stars. But today, none of that matters. Because today, Elijah is being taught how to sit still, how to recite, and how to pass a test he'll forget in 2 weeks. He raises his hand to ask why a war was fought in a place called Korea. His teacher sighs. "That's not on the test," she says. "Please focus." So Elijah lowers his hand, and with it, a small piece of his spirit begins to disappear. And that's how it always starts. Before we go deeper, let me tell you this. What you're about to hear may challenge everything you've believed. But if you've ever felt disconnected from your path, if you've ever wondered why your achievements feel so hollow, if you've ever sensed that something's off with school, with society, with yourself, then this video may be the beginning of your awakening. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with me, because what's coming next is something most people never dare to question. Let me ask you something. Do you remember the moment when your curiosity died? You probably don't, because it wasn't a moment. It was a slow, silent erosion. It happened every time you were told what to think instead of how to think. Every time you were rewarded for memorizing instead of understanding. Every time your grades were more important than your soul. We call it education, but what if it's something else entirely? Here's the unsettling truth. Modern education wasn't designed to liberate you. It was designed to control you. I know that sounds extreme, but stay with me. The system we have today was not born in the spirit of enlightenment. It was born in the smoke and steel of the Industrial Revolution. Factory bells, assembly lines, uniforms, obedience. Governments and industrialists needed people who could follow instructions, not question them. They didn't want philosophers. They wanted compliant workers. So they created schools that looked like factories. Same schedule, same rows, same rules. And for over a century, we've called this normal. But what does it really do to a person? Let me tell you about a man I met in 2019. His name was Marcus, 47 years old, a corporate executive. On paper, he had everything. Six-figure income, a modern home, a loving family. But inside, he was empty. He told me, "I did everything right. I followed the plan. I studied hard. I got the job. I'm respected, but I don't feel alive. I don't even know what I believe." He wasn't broken. He was simply programmed, just like many of us. We were trained to be successful, not to be whole. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's not a political rant. It's a painful truth we must face if we are ever going to heal. Most of us were not educated. We were conditioned. We were trained to obey, to compete, to stay in line, to doubt our own voice, to fear mistakes, to need permission. And the worst part? We were never taught to question the system itself. But now you're here, and you're listening, which means something in you is waking up. You're starting to remember that there was once a time when you looked at the stars with wonder, when you asked too many questions, when you believed anything was possible, and maybe, just maybe, you're ready to reclaim that part of yourself. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share next might just undo what you thought was true. If you haven't already, subscribe now. Don't let this be another video you forget. Let it be a door that leads you back to your true self. We like to believe we're free to choose our path, free to shape our destiny, free to know who we are. But let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. How can you be free when the first 20 years of your life were spent learning what to think instead of how to think? How can you be free when you were never shown how to question the cage because you were told it was a castle? In ancient India, there was a story of a young monk named Siddhartha. He had everything: wealth, power, education. But one day, while walking through the streets, he saw something he'd never seen before. Suffering. A man diseased. Another old and trembling. A third lifeless. He asked his teacher, "Why didn't you teach me this part of life?" The teacher replied, "Because it wasn't part of the curriculum." That was the day Siddhartha left the palace and began his journey to become the Buddha. Now let's fast forward. Today's curriculum, it's designed with the same intention, to protect you, or rather to control you, by filtering reality. You're taught the dates of wars, but not the suffering behind them. You're taught how to pass exams, but not how to process heartbreak. You're taught how to write essays, but not how to navigate existential dread at 2 a.m. Modern education is the art of intellectual camouflage. It keeps you busy with information so you never see the deeper truths. Truths like life isn't linear, success isn't security, knowledge isn't wisdom, and education isn't always truth. A 2021 Pew Research study found something alarming. Over 60% of adults in the United States reported questioning their life's purpose. 60%. These are not uneducated people. These are your neighbors, your bosses, your teachers, people who followed the system and still feel lost. What does that tell you? It tells you the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to keep you productive but not present, informed but not aware, trained but not transformed. Let me tell you about another man. His name was Samuel. He was a carpenter from Nairobi, Kenya. He never went to university, never wore a suit, but when he spoke, people listened. He once said to me in Swahili accented English, "I build houses with wood, but I build life with questions." He had no diploma, but he had depth, he had clarity. He had something most educated people don't: wisdom rooted in self-awareness. You see, real education has nothing to do with classrooms. It begins when you turn inward and start asking questions the system never dared to plant in you. Why am I here? What do I truly value? What am I afraid to admit, even to myself? These are the questions that strip away the illusion. And once you begin asking them, the old world starts to crack. That's why systems don't want thinkers. They want performers. They want obedient achievers, not disobedient dreamers. They want test takers, not truth seekers. They want you smart enough to run their machines, but not wise enough to walk away from them. Now, you might say, but we need education. Of course we do. But let me make something very clear. I am not against learning. I am not against knowledge. I am not against teachers. I am against indoctrination masquerading as enlightenment. I am against a system that rewards memorization over imagination, that punishes mistakes instead of honoring curiosity, that trains us to suppress our authenticity in order to please authority. Education, in its purest form, is sacred. But what we have now, it's not education, it's social conditioning in a graduation gown. Throughout history, the truth has always come from the margins. Moses was a fugitive, Jesus was a carpenter, Muhammad was an orphan, Buddha was a dropout. None of them were certified. But all of them taught the world. And you know what's fascinating? Every single one of them started their mission only after they began to unlearn what society had taught them. Think about that. They had to walk away before they could lead others home. So let me ask you now, what have you been taught that's actually holding you back? What ideas have you swallowed without chewing? What rules are you following without even knowing who wrote them? Because unless you stop and ask, you will live a life that is not yours. If this message speaks to you, subscribe to this channel now. Not for me, for you. So you don't forget what you felt in this moment. So you can come back again and again and remember who you are beneath the program. And remember this, you are not broken. You were just conditioned to fit into a system that doesn't fit you. But it's never too late to wake up, because the real education, the one that matters, it begins the moment you say, I'm ready to question everything. There comes a moment in every life when the noise becomes unbearable, when the masks grow too heavy, when the applause no longer fills the emptiness inside. That moment is not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's the soul whispering, there's more than this. You were made for more than this. I met a woman once. Her name was Eleanor. She was 62, retired, living alone in upstate New York. She had been a teacher for 35 years, respected, admired, loved by her students. But when she retired, she fell into a deep silence. Not depression, something deeper. She told me, all my life I taught what they told me to teach, but I never had time to teach what I felt. Now I sit here wondering who I could have been if I had been allowed to be me. And as she said it, her eyes watered, not from sadness, but from awakening. You see, the great tragedy of modern education is not what it teaches, it's what it doesn't. It doesn't teach you how to deal with pain, how to sit in silence, how to forgive your parents, how to love without losing yourself, how to die before you die so that you can truly live. Instead, it gives you formulas, timelines, and deadlines. It makes you chase achievements that impress others but mean nothing to your heart. And worst of all, it convinces you that this is all there is. But listen to me now. That story is not the end. You are not doomed to repeat the script. You were never meant to be just a product of the system. You were meant to be the author of your own story. And that begins not by adding more, but by letting go. Letting go of the idea that you need a degree to be wise. Letting go of the belief that your worth is measured by performance. Letting go of the fear that questioning makes you dangerous, because the truth is, it does. Questioning does make you dangerous, but not to yourself, to the system. Let me take you back to Elijah, the boy in the gray classroom. He's grown now, and one day, walking through an old bookstore in Boston, he finds a dusty copy of The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. He flips it open and reads, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself." He closes the book, and something inside him clicks. He finally understands. He wasn't broken as a child. He wasn't lazy or rebellious or too emotional. He was simply alive in a world that demanded he be numb. We all were. But that ends now, because now you see the illusion for what it is. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you have only two choices: go back to sleep or wake up fully and take your power back. So what does that look like? It means unlearning. It means replacing what do I need to know with what do I need to feel, replacing how do I succeed with what does success mean to me, replacing who should I be with who am I really. It means giving yourself permission to not know and to explore anyway, to read books that awaken your soul, not just pass your exam, to sit with mentors who ask you questions, not just give you answers, to learn from life, heartbreak, failure, nature, music, stillness, because these are the real classrooms. And it means remembering that the most important education you'll ever receive is the one that comes from within. And no, you don't need to escape to a mountaintop. You don't need to burn your diploma. You don't need to hate your teachers. You just need to return to yourself and trust that your inner compass knows the way home. If this video stirred something in you, don't let that spark fade. Subscribe to this channel, not for algorithms, not for numbers, but to stay close to the conversations that matter, to return again and again to the truth that was buried beneath the noise. This isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call. The deception was real, but so is your power to rise above it. You are not a grade, not a job title, not someone else's expectations. You are a soul on fire, longing to remember. So take a breath, turn down the noise, and listen, because the real teacher has always been within you. End screen. Soft ambient music, dark background, white text fades in. You were never meant to fit in a system. You were meant to awaken a new one. Subscribe now, share this video, comment below. When did you first question the system?